I took my niece to the hospital behind my sister-in-law's back. The doctor went pale, and everything changed in seconds. Hi, my name is Audrey. Growing up with a brother like Connor meant always having someone to look up to. He was the golden child, smart, successful, and impossibly generous. So when he married Victoria 8 years ago, I expected someone equally wonderful. But sometimes first impressions can be devastatingly wrong. Audrey, thanks for coming over on such short notice, Connor said, pulling me into a quick hug as I stepped into his beautiful Cape Cod-style home in Maplewood. The board meeting can't be rescheduled, and Victoria has her yoga retreat. No problem at all. Where's my favorite niece? I asked, setting my bag down on the marble kitchen counter. Harper's upstairs in her room. She hasn't been feeling great today. But Victoria says it's just a bug going around Oak Ridge Elementary. I frowned slightly. Didn't she just recover from something last month? Connor shrugged, checking his tag Hoyer. Kids, right? Always catching something. There's tomato soup in the fridge if she gets hungry. Victoria says no snacks before dinner though. Got it. Go nail your presentation. I've got this. After Connor left in his Audi, I headed upstairs to check on Harper. At 7 years old, she was usually a whirlwind of energy. But lately, something seemed deeply wrong. I knocked gently on her door. Aunt Audrey, came a weak voice. I stepped inside to find Harper curled up in bed, her face ghostly pale, and her normally sparkling green eyes dull and sunken. The room smelled stale, medicinal. Hey, sweetheart. Your dad said you're not feeling too good. My tummy hurts again, she whispered, clutching her favorite stuffed bunny. And I'm so tired. I sat beside her, brushing her auburn hair back to feel her forehead. She was warm, not alarmingly so, but enough to notice. Her skin felt clammy. Have you told your mom about your tummy hurting? Harper nodded, her eyes dropping to the bedspread. She says I'm just being overdramatic, that I need to toughen up and stop complaining. A chill ran down my spine. As a registered nurse at Clearwater Medical Center, I'd learned to trust my instincts about sick children. Something about this felt very wrong. Does your tummy hurt a lot, Harper? Like more than just sometimes? Almost every day after lunch, she said softly. And sometimes I get really dizzy at school. Mrs. Bennett had to take me to the nurse twice last week. I tried to keep my expression neutral, professional. What do you usually have for lunch? Mom makes me special sandwiches. She says they're super healthy and will help me grow stronger. Harper's voice got even quieter. She uses special ingredients that she says other moms don't know about. And when did all this start? After my birthday party. Remember when I got sick from too much chocolate cake? I remembered. 5 months ago. But no child stays sick from birthday cake for 5 months straight. Harper, would you show me exactly where it hurts the most? She pointed to the lower right side of her abdomen, just above her hip, not where a typical stomachache manifests. My nursing training kicked into high gear. Does it hurt when I press here? I asked, gently touching the spot. She winced sharply. Ow, yes, a lot. How about when I press here? I moved my hand to another area. Not as much. And do you feel sick after eating anything else, or just the sandwiches? Harper thought for a moment, her small face scrunched in concentration. I feel worst after Mommy's special sandwiches and sometimes her special smoothies too. But don't tell her I said that. She gets really mad when I don't finish my food. My heart rate picked up. What happens when she gets mad? Harper's eyes filled with tears that spilled down her pale cheeks. She says I'm ungrateful, that I don't appreciate how hard she works to keep me healthy. Sometimes she makes me sit at the table until I finish everything, even if it takes hours. Once I sat there until bedtime. I squeezed her small hand gently. You're not in any trouble, Harper. I promise. Does your dad know about this? Daddy works a lot, and Mommy says he doesn't understand nutrition like she does, so we don't need to bother him with silly stuff. She paused. Aunt Audrey, am I dying? The question hit me like a freight train. No? Esute. Absolutely not. But I do want to help you feel better. Can I look in your backpack? I want to check something. She nodded, and I retrieved her pink backpack from beside her desk. Inside, I found her insulated lunch bag and opened it carefully. The sandwich inside looked normal enough: wheat bread, what appeared to be chicken, and lettuce. But there was an odd bitter smell that shouldn't be there. Something chemical. I wrapped it carefully in tissues and tucked it into my purse. "Aunt Audrey, am I in trouble?" Hopper asked, her voice tiny and afraid. "Absolutely not, sweetheart. I just want to make sure you feel better." I sat beside her again, my mind racing through possibilities I didn't want to consider. "Has your mom taken you to see Dr. Morrison about this?" "No. She says I just want attention and that doctors cost too much money." But Connor and Victoria had platinum-level health insurance through his investment firm. Cost was definitely not the issue. I made a decision that would change everything. "Tell you what," I said, forcing brightness into my voice. "Let's watch a movie downstairs. I'll make some plain crackers and ginger ale for your tummy." While Harper settled in front of the TV with Encanto, I stepped into the hallway and called my friend Brianna, who worked as a lab technician at Clearwater Medical. "Hey Bri, I need a major favor." "No questions asked. Can you test a food sample for me?" "Off the books." "Audrey, that's not exactly." "It's about Harper, Connor's daughter. I'm worried Victoria might be, I don't know. Something's really not right." A pause, then, "Bring it in. I'll stay late tonight." "Thanks, Brianna. I really hope I'm wrong about this. What exactly are you suspecting?" I lowered my voice, moving further from the living room where I could hear the movie playing. "Possibly some form of intentional poisoning. Harper's been chronically ill for months, but only at home, mainly after eating food Victoria prepares specially for her." "Jesus, Audrey, that's a serious accusation." "I know. That's why I need to be absolutely sure before I say anything to Connor." After dropping off the sandwich at the hospital where Brianna worked, I returned to find Harper had fallen asleep on the couch, her small body curled into a protective ball. My phone buzzed. It was Victoria. "Is Harper behaving?" she asked without any greeting. Her voice had that sharp edge it always carried. "She's asleep. She's really not feeling well, Victoria. I think she should see a doctor soon." Victoria's voice turned to ice. "Don't start with that again. She's perfectly fine. She just likes the attention you give her when she acts sick. She has significant abdominal pain and chronic fatigue. That's not acting." "I'm her mother, Audrey, not you. Never you. Stay in your lane." "Victoria, I'm just concerned." "Concerned? Please. You've always been jealous that Connor chose me, that we have this beautiful family and you don't. Don't use my daughter as a substitute for the children you can't have yourself." That struck deep. My struggles with infertility weren't something I discussed openly, but Victoria had always weaponized them whenever she felt challenged. "This isn't about me," I said as firmly as I could manage. "It's about Harper's health and well-being. Don't test me, Audrey. I decide what's best for my daughter, not you. Are we clear?" The call ended abruptly. I looked at Harper's sleeping form, at how fragile she appeared, and made another decision that would fracture our family forever. The next day, while Connor was at his investment firm and Victoria was at her Pilates class, which I'd long suspected was actually meeting her personal trainer for more than exercise, I picked Harper up from Oak Ridge Elementary. "Aunt Audrey, what are you doing here?" Harper asked, confused but clearly happy to see me. "Where's Mom?" "We're going on a little adventure, sweetheart. Your mom knows all about it." The lie felt justified under the circumstances. "Where are we going?" "To see a friend of mine who's a doctor, just to check on that tummy of yours." Harper's face fell. "But Mommy says doctors give shots and they really hurt." "Sometimes doctors need to use needles, but only to help you feel better. And Dr. Graham is super gentle. I promise you." Harper considered this carefully. "Will you hold my hand if I need a shot?" "The whole time," I promised, meaning it with every fiber of my being. Dr. Trevor Graham was an old college friend who now specialized in pediatrics at Clearwater Medical. He'd agreed to see Harper as a personal favor to me, squeezing her into his packed schedule. "So Harper," he said warmly, crouching to her eye level, "your aunt tells me your tummy's been bothering you quite a bit. Can you tell me more about that?" As Harper described her symptoms in her soft, uncertain voice, Dr. Graham's expression grew increasingly troubled. He performed a gentle but thorough examination, then stepped outside the room with me. Audrey, how long has this been going on? 5 months, apparently. Her mother hasn't brought her in for any of it. His jaw tightened. I want to run some comprehensive blood work, specifically. Do you have a suspicion? I asked, though I already feared the answer. Several, none of them good. Her symptoms are consistent with chronic poisoning, among other serious possibilities. While we waited for the lab results, my phone exploded with increasingly frantic texts from Victoria. Where is Harper? Answer me right now. I swear to God, Audrey, I'm calling the police. This is kidnapping. I replied simply, she's safe. We're getting her the medical attention she clearly needs. The response came instantly, you have no right. I'm her mother. Being a mother isn't just biology, I typed back, my hands shaking. It's protecting your child, not hurting them. You're dead to me. Connor will never forgive you for this. Never. Dr. Graham returned 20 minutes later with a manila folder, his face ashen and drawn. Audrey, can I speak with you privately? In his office, surrounded by cheerful pediatric posters that felt obscene given the circumstances, he laid it out plainly. Harper is showing unmistakable signs of arsenic poisoning, low-level chronic exposure over an extended period. It's not immediately life-threatening at current levels, but continued exposure could cause permanent organ damage or death. The room tilted. My heart stopped, then hammered. Arsenic. You're certain? Yes, beyond any doubt. He paused. And there's something else. I received a call from the lab. A colleague of yours, Brianna Torres. She found traces of the same substance in a food sample you provided earlier. The sandwich? Victoria's special sandwiches. I am legally obligated to report this, he continued gravely. Child Protective Services will be involved immediately. And the police. I nodded, feeling numb and electrified simultaneously. Her father, my brother, he has no idea. Call him now, Dr. Graham said firmly. He needs to get here immediately. Connor arrived at Clearwater Medical in record time, his Mercedes screeching into the emergency parking lot. His face was drained of all color when he burst through the doors. What's going on? Where's Harper? Victoria's threatening to file kidnapping charges against you. She's absolutely hysterical. Connor, sit down, I said, leading him to the private consultation room Dr. Graham had prepared. There's something you need to know. Something terrible. As Dr. Graham methodically explained the situation, the arsenic levels, the contaminated food, the systematic nature of the poisoning, Connor's expression transformed from confusion to disbelief to pure rage. That's impossible, he whispered, his voice cracking. Victoria wouldn't. She couldn't. She loves Harper more than anything. The evidence is absolutely clear, Mr. Dawson, Dr. Graham said gently but firmly. Your daughter has been systematically poisoned over a period of several months. The concentration levels and patterns suggest intentional, deliberate exposure, not environmental contamination. How could I have missed this? Connor's voice broke completely. All those times Harper was sick, all those doctor's appointments Victoria said weren't necessary. I just believed her. I trusted her completely. Because she's your wife, I said softly, reaching for his hand. Because you loved her. Because you never imagined someone could do this to their own child. Where is she? Connor demanded suddenly, standing up. Where's Victoria right now? As if summoned by the mention of her name, Victoria burst through the hospital doors at that exact moment, followed closely by a hospital security guard trying to keep pace. There she is. Victoria screamed, her perfectly manicured finger pointing directly at me. That's the woman who kidnapped my daughter. I want her arrested immediately. Ma'am, please lower your voice, the guard said firmly. This is a hospital. Connor stood slowly, and when he spoke, his voice was eerily calm in a way I'd never heard before. Victoria, what have you done to our daughter? Victoria's eyes darted between us, her face a mask of confusion that looked almost genuine. What are you talking about? She kidnapped Harper. I want her arrested right now. Mrs. Dawson, Dr. Graham interjected professionally, I'm Dr. Trevor Graham. I've been treating your daughter for acute arsenic poisoning. For just a split second, maybe half a heartbeat, Victoria's carefully constructed mask slipped. Pure fear flashed across her face before she composed herself with impressive speed. That's completely ridiculous. You're all insane. Where's Harper? I'm taking her home right now. No, you're not. A new voice cut through the tension. Detective Kimberly Hayes had arrived, summoned by Dr. Graham's mandatory report to Child Protective Services. Mrs. Dawson, we need to ask you some very serious questions about your daughter's condition. I don't have to answer anything without my lawyer, Victoria spat, her composure cracking. Actually, ma'am, you do, Detective Hayes countered calmly. We have a warrant to search your home and seize any food items you've been preparing for your daughter. We're executing it as we speak. Victoria's face went completely white, then flushed red. This is absolutely absurd. Audrey has always been jealous of me, of our family. She's making all of this up because she's a bitter, barren woman who can't have children of her own. The cruelty of it took my breath away, but I refused to look away from her. The blood tests don't lie, Dr. Graham said firmly. Neither does the independent lab analysis of Harper's lunch sandwich. You went through her things? Victoria turned to me, her face contorted with rage. You had no right. No right at all. I had every right, I shot back, finding my voice. Someone had to protect her since her own mother was slowly poisoning her. Connor stepped forward, and I saw tears streaming down his face. Why, Victoria? She's our daughter, our baby girl. Why would you do this to her? You don't understand, Victoria hissed, her carefully cultivated image finally shattering. You never understood anything. She took everything from me. My body, my freedom, my entire life. You were always Harper this, Harper that. What about me, Connor? What about what I needed? What about my suffering? The room fell into shocked silence. Victoria's admission hung in the air like poison itself. Mrs. Dawson, Detective Hayes said quietly, producing handcuffs, you're under arrest for the attempted murder of Harper Dawson and felony child abuse. This isn't over, Victoria snarled at me as the handcuffs clicked around her wrists. You think you've won? You've completely ruined my life, so I'll ruin yours. Connor will see through you eventually. He'll see what you really are. Save it for your lawyer, Detective Hayes said, leading her toward the exit. As Victoria was led away, still screaming accusations at me, Connor collapsed into a chair like a puppet with cut strings. How did I not see it? He whispered. All those times Harper was sick. All those months. Victoria always had such reasonable explanations. I believed every single word. It's not your fault, I said, sitting beside him and taking his hand. Munchausen syndrome by proxy is incredibly difficult to detect, especially when it's someone you trust completely, someone you love. What happens now? He asked, looking lost. Harper needs chelation therapy to flush the arsenic from her system. And you both need counseling, I said gently. But she'll recover, Connor. Children are remarkably resilient when they're finally safe. The trial 3 months later was brief but brutally intense. The evidence against Victoria was overwhelming and damning. Not just the arsenic in Harper's system and lunch sandwich, but her browser history revealed dozens of incriminating searches, untraceable poisons, symptoms of arsenic poisoning, how to make someone sick without getting caught, Munchausen by proxy, how to avoid detection. The prosecutor, District Attorney Raymond Clark, was absolutely merciless in his approach. Mrs. Dawson, can you explain why you searched for these specific terms? D.A. Clark asked, displaying the search history on a large screen for the jury. Research. Victoria replied with icy composure, her lawyer having clearly coached her. I'm a true crime enthusiast. I listen to podcasts. And the commercial-grade arsenic trioxide found in your kitchen cabinet, hidden behind the baking supplies, also for your podcast hobby? I use it for gardening. To kill weeds in our rose beds. Yet you kept it directly next to the almond butter, which laboratory analysis found in your daughter's special sandwiches. Interesting placement for a toxic substance, don't you think? Victoria had no answer, just stared straight ahead. When it was Connor's turn to testify, he looked directly at his wife with an expression of profound betrayal and heartbreak. I loved you, he said simply, his voice steady despite the tears. I trusted you completely with our daughter's life, with everything. And you betrayed that trust in the most horrific way imaginable. You never loved me. Victoria screamed suddenly, losing control despite her lawyer's restraining hand. You only cared about Harper. It was always about Harper. What about me? What about what I needed? The judge ordered her removed from the courtroom. The jury looked horrified. The psychiatric evaluation revealed that Victoria suffered from severe narcissistic personality disorder, combined with Munchausen syndrome by proxy. The attention and sympathy she received from having a chronically ill child had fed something fundamentally broken inside her psyche. She was sentenced to 20 years in prison for attempted murder and multiple counts of felony child abuse. 7 months later, Harper was not just recovered, but absolutely thriving. Connor had filed for divorce and won full custody with a permanent restraining order. Victoria would never be allowed contact with Harper again. Aunt Audrey, watch this. Harper called out, performing a perfect cartwheel in Connor's backyard during our Sunday barbecue. Her color had returned. Her energy was boundless, her smile genuine. Amazing, kiddo. I cheered, marveling at her complete transformation. The sickly, lethargic child was gone, replaced by a vibrant, healthy girl who actually looked her age. Connor handed me an iced tea, his expression serious despite the cheerful atmosphere. I got a letter from Victoria's attorney yesterday. She wants to apologize to Harper. Says she's gotten intensive help in prison, that she's realized what she did was wrong and wants to make amends. What did you tell them? Absolutely not. Some things can't be forgiven, Audrey. She tried to kill our daughter, slowly, painfully, over months and months while I was completely blind to it all. He took a deep breath. The prison psychiatrist says she has severe narcissistic personality disorder along with Munchausen by proxy. The attention she got from having a chronically ill child fed something deeply broken inside her. Have you told Harper anything about her mother? Age-appropriate truth. That her mother is sick in a way doctors can't fix. And that she hurt Harper because of that sickness. That it wasn't Harper's fault. That nothing she did caused it. How's she handling it? Better than I ever expected. Her therapist says children are remarkably adaptable when they're given consistent love and stability. What we're providing now is healing her emotional wounds along with the physical ones. We watched as Harper played tag with her cousin, who had come with my parents for the day. Our entire family had rallied around Connor and Harper, filling the void Victoria had left with genuine love instead of poison. You saved her life, you know, Connor said quietly. If you hadn't trusted your instincts, if you hadn't gone behind Victoria's back and risked everything, that's what family does, I replied simply. We protect each other, no matter the cost. I just keep thinking about all the signs I missed, Connor confessed, pain in his voice. The way Victoria would insist on preparing Harper's food herself. How she'd get genuinely angry if anyone else tried to feed her. How she always seemed almost excited when Harper got sick, like she was enjoying the attention and drama. That's the nature of Munchausen by proxy, I explained. The perpetrator desperately craves the attention and sympathy that comes with having a sick child. They become the heroic, devoted, self-sacrificing parent in everyone's eyes. Except yours. You saw through it. I had the advantage of medical training and emotional distance. When you're living it every single day, the pattern is much harder to recognize. Last week, I received a letter from Victoria, smuggled out through another inmate. It was filled with vitriol and threats, promises that she'd get out someday, that she'd make me pay for stealing her family, for destroying her life. I burned it without showing Connor. Some toxins are best neutralized with fire. But there was one paragraph I couldn't forget, that haunted me. You think you're the hero of this story, Audrey, but you're not. You were always jealous of what I had. You wanted my life, my husband, my daughter. You destroyed me because you couldn't create anything of your own. Barren women always destroy what fertile women build. I'll get out eventually, and when I do, you'll pay for everything you've taken from me. I knew it was the narcissism talking, the delusion, but something about it chilled me to the bone. As the sun set on another healing day, I watched Harper laugh, really, truly laugh for the first time in ages. She was teaching Connor how to do a cartwheel, both of them tumbling onto the grass in a heap of giggles. Sometimes the most toxic people wear the most convincing masks. Sometimes they're the ones everyone else thinks are perfect. And sometimes saving someone means being willing to be the villain in someone else's twisted story. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Harper ran over to me, throwing her arms around my waist. Aunt Audrey, Can we have a sleepover next weekend? Dad says it's okay if you are. Absolutely, sweetheart. She beamed up at me, healthy and whole and safe. That was all that mattered. So here's my question for you, the one that keeps me up at night. If you suspected someone was hurting a child in your family, would you risk everything, relationships, reputation, maybe even legal trouble, to protect that child? Or would you mind your own business and hope someone else would step up? Because I promise you this, somewhere right now, there's another Harper, another child being slowly poisoned by the person who's supposed to protect the most. And the question is, will you be brave enough to see it?